Well, Happy New Year, everyone. Well, I'd like to say it's by public demand, but that would be stretching it. But we have returned, in fact, for 2018. We are here at that unfortunate time of year that's commonly known as after the tennis. This is the Titus and Sergio Variety Hour podcast. I'm Sergio Paradise, and I'm joined, as always, by Grammy winner and Sudanese gang member, Titus O'Reilly.
We're all down here in Melbourne. We're all Sudanese gang members.
That's what we've been doing all summer.
Have you been out to dinner?
No, I haven't been out to dinner.
Too scary.
We rolled a gun shop yesterday. But
just go drive-through.
It's been a hectic old time.
It's been a fun summer watching all the...
It has. Everything's been unfolding all around us. Usually it's just the tennis.
You'd think...
Big bash league or something.
You'd think Australia was about to... collapse as a society.
Yeah,
if you read the news every day.
Oh, exactly.
And I took a lot of time not reading the news over summer, so I'm feeling relatively positive about life.
Oh, look, you mentioned when I came in that I have let the razor go.
You got a beard.
Yeah, I do have a beard. It was part of the witness protection program I went into, but you'd have to say, my days of infiltrating the Comancheros are now long gone. But yeah, it's been certainly been one of those summers. There's been a lot going on. And as I say, normally it's, there's a cricket tour, and there was a big one this year, of course, the Ashes. Yeah. And then it's the tennis, there's the Big Bash, there's this and that. But yeah, down here in Melbourne, we sort of got overrun by all sorts of stuff. Now, we've got a heap to get through.
We do. What do you want
to start with?
Well, there's a few things. One, I just, as well as thanking our supporters, you said it was backed by popular demand, and straight away Glenn on Twitter shot into me. It's not the only Glenn on Twitter, I should add. Just happened to come through Twitter. He wrote through straight away. First question we got upon our announcing we were returning. Where are you two going for your September holiday? So we're already being...
the implication there being Melbourne supporters will be free again in September.
It's not even an implication. It's usually just fact.
He may well be right. Don't worry about that.
Well, especially after the training camp nonsense.
Fiasco, wasn't that? That was embarrassing, I thought.
Oh.
It was really bad, When the players go to the Players Association and say, we're not going on the training camp because one of us dropped a brick on his head last year.
Yeah, who admitted he didn't pack his bag properly. So, can't follow instructions.
And behind the coach's back, my word from inside the club was that Simon Goodman wasn't too happy with this.
Well, the thing about it is, if you don't follow instructions, and which Melbourne players on the field have not done for many years, getting hit in the head by a brick is a good way to turn around their thinking.
I'm very old school on this. If the coach says we're going to a training camp, well, boys, you're going on the training camp, but they haven't. Well, they are up in Queensland at the minute. Let's hope.
Yeah, they've gone to the Sunshine Coast.
Nobody falls off the deck at the Noosa Surf Club.
Instead of going on like this brutal army training camp in the freezing cold, they've gone, go to the Sunshine Coast.
Oh, yeah. It's either Puckapunyal or Hastings Street, boys. What do you reckon?
Be Maldives next year. I should also mention, I just announced this just before we record this podcast. I'm going to be performing at the Melbourne International Comedy Festival and the Sydney Comedy Festival this year coming up, mainly because legally they can't stop me.
Yeah. And let's be honest, every year the Melbourne Comedy Festival gets bigger because there's lots more venues than anyone.
Yeah, they let anyone in. Yeah, that's right. So I'm doing both of those. Melbourne International Comedy Festival's Thursday the 29th of March to Sunday the 22nd of April. And then Sydney's the 26th of April to the 29th of April. So that's... I'm probably... If those shows... Yeah, I'm doing basically based on my book, a history of Australian sport, but... Also, but a lot of stuff I couldn't put in the book, or didn't lend itself to a book so much.
All the blue stuff.
Yeah, I'm working blue. So I've got lots. So it's not if you've got the book and read it, which both of you can still come. It's not. You're not going to just be hearing me. Basically, I'm not just doing a live
reading.
Imagine that. You forked out some money and I'm just reading the book.
Reading from the book. It's a reading and signing, and then you can sell it to them afterwards.
So it's not that. It's all. There'll be bits of it, but mainly then I'll add lots of stuff. I had heaps of stuff that I had. So come on, if those shows go well, there's talk of going to other states if there's interest. So we'll see. we'll see how people in Melbourne. So if you're interested, there are tickets are available. You go to Frontier Touring's website and it's got for both of them. Otherwise, I'll put the link in the show notes. So that should be good.
Pretty soon we'll all get the Comedy Festival book, I imagine, in our
booklet,
newspapers.
Yeah, in Melbourne you will. And the Brisbane one's Comedy Festival's on soonish, but I couldn't make the timing work for that. So but that doesn't mean I won't necessarily take the show. Doesn't have to be linked to a festival forever, so I can take it around other things if people are interested.
And it's not like, you need 4 semi-trailers full of equipment to do it. It's not the Foo Fighters,
That's right, just get on a plane. Anyway, I knew the minute I'd finished the book, I was like, there's a lot of material that the work experience kids have left on the table.
You don't want it to go to waste.
No. So we're going to do that.
Once you fire the work experience kids, you may as well use their material.
Yeah, they started asking me to be paid, so I had to let them go. We should... did you watch the Australian Open? Were you...
I did.
That was the big thing of summer, really.
Yeah, I did. I mean, traditionally, it's... And I think our household's like many others in that for the whole 2 weeks, you pretty much just have it on the tennis.
Yeah, you have the cricket or the tennis in the background.
Yeah, and so I watched a fair bit of it, I've got to say. And I've also got to say, Channel 7, I generally think they do a pretty good job on the tennis, but I reckon they lost the plot a bit this year. It was overproduced and they had too much stuff thrown in and too much of it was commercially driven. Which I know is the way of the world these days. Everything's commercially driven. But when you're in the middle, and it wasn't a first round between 2 hacks you've never heard of. When Nick Kyrgios was playing Tsonga and they missed the first game of a set because they'd crossed to a meaningless interview with someone purely because it was against a Blackmore's backdrop and then went to a Lotto Land ad. That's when I thought they've gone too far.
Yeah, that was pretty bad.
It was pretty bad. They did a fair bit of that, Channel 7. They didn't learn from it.
No, they were pushing the envelope.
Surely the fact that I attacked them on Twitter would have made them change their entire policy.
Yeah, that really stirred them up, I heard. It was amazing watching... there was a lot... The finals were pretty good, actually.
They were.
Really
there were
good.
some dud matches up until then. And there always is. But the 2 finals were crackers. And generally, in years past, the women's final has not been a great match because the last few years it's usually been Serena against not the next best player in the world, but someone who was snuck through to the final, and good on them for getting there. But, then Serena would give them a 6-1, 6-2 touch-up. But this year it was an absolute ripping match. Yeah,
well, I mean, I think all the women who did well need to thank Serena's baby.
Yeah. Was perhaps the
only thing that's ever been able to stop her because the rest of them were all
Well, Caroline Wozniacki, I mean, she's best mates with Serena. But, that match with her and Simona, Halep, who, before the tennis started, if you'd offered me $1 million to tell you who was the number 1 female tennis player in the world, I had no idea it was Simona Halep.
No, well, there's about 7 that are all in, all contesting it. It's very close. The post-Serena world is a mess.
But she'll be back. She'll
come back to bring brutal efficiency back to the women's side of things. What can you say about Roger Federer that hasn't already been said? I was thinking about he's won 20 Grand Slams.
Yeah, it's not bad, is it?
I haven't achieved 20 just things in my life. No. I'm not even talking big things or good things.
Just minor things.
I don't get through 20 things in a week. I've had 20 things on my to-do list my whole life.
Yeah,
shower.
Yeah. Keep a roof over your head. Pay off your car.
So what does strike me as interesting is he said a while ago, Federer himself said, they asked why was he and Nadal dominated for so much longer than previous generations. And he said the younger generation of tennis players have just not stepped up.
Yeah.
They've just not been good enough.
And I think the implication there was also that they haven't worked hard enough.
That's what he basically said that. I mean,
they just haven't worked hard enough. And the fact that, as you say, he's still going. I mean, he looked like he was stuck on 17, 18, forever. And that was still a pretty remarkable tally.
Yeah.
But the fact he's won the last, 12 months, he's won 2 Australian Opens and Wimbledon.
And he really had to work at this one. This one was a good he didn't feel like he was going to go to 5 sets, but then
early in the fourth set he had the break, and I said, all he has to do is serve this out now for the match.
Yeah.
And of course, then he got the yips, and Cilic came good in that fourth set, but then he served out in that fifth set. He's a remarkable human being, old Roger, you got to say.
They had a great bit. The heat's always an issue with the Australian Open, and I heard them sort of defending the fact that they said, well, we haven't had to cancel any matches or anything because the wet bulb index has not.
Can you explain that to me? I've read the official thing and I still don't get it.
I can certainly explain it to you. I don't know what it is, but I'll have a... No, it's basically a device that measures... I think it measures like humidity, heat, and a whole bunch of other things that go into it. And they keep saying, well, it hasn't gone above that index where there's a trigger point where that would... And it's because they've set the index so ridiculously. If you set a trigger point really high,
it ain't going to
get there. Yeah. So it's the same as almost not having a trigger point. But then I heard them say, we get this right. We know what we're doing. It's not like anyone's died. And I'm like, is that the measure of, heat stress and just the fact that it might be bad tennis or it's unfair to people?
There's a death on centre court, then we might rethink the heat policy. But up until then, we've got it right.
Yeah, that's right. They say these are professional athletes. No, it's not like anyone. We're not killing people.
And as I think you also pointed out, that this wet bulb index is set at such a level that as soon as it gets close to that the implication being there that couple of accountants will then point out that you can't cancel a match because it will cost the Australian Open far too much money.
Yeah, that's right. Although on Channel 7 you wouldn't know the match wasn't on. You'd think it was still going ahead. They were just showing ads instead and promos. I love nothing more in sport. They do it in the horse racing really well too, where they have those little segments where like Hamish and something will go clothes shopping. It's a total dressed up, it's a total ad.
Yeah.
And they act like it goes on for like 10 minutes, and it'll be him and Brad Sewell or something.
They do that in the horse.
They do it in the tennis too. They do things like that too. Like we're just casually popping out to
And they did a lot with the makeup too with some of the female players. They just pop out to get a quick facial or something.
Because gender norms
get their nails
never
done.
Changed. I thought it was interesting watching Australians like grudgingly pretend to like Nick Kyrgios briefly.
Yeah, they did. Everyone got on the bandwagon. There was a lot of in the Twitterverse about hey, we never doubted him.
Yeah, and all you haters. And what I love about that is he's set the bar so low for himself that if he just doesn't either quit or tell another player that he's girlfriend slept with Kokkinakis, or
hasn't that destroyed Kokkinakis' career?
So if he doesn't,
never to be heard of again.
So if he doesn't, if he just plays basic tennis and to a relatively good standard
and win some and lose some,
but it's like he didn't win the whole thing. I'm just saying, he set the bar so low with his previous behaviour that this was seen as a massive redemption. He's changed a massive redemption.
He's a changed man.
And I'm like, and do you think Channel 7 cut to his brother enough?
Oh, doesn't he feeding him his brother look like a hood? he dead set looks like a thug.
Well, to me, they just kept Kane to him all the time. And I'm thinking, no one in Australia cares about how Nick Kyrgios' brother is reacting to this.
Exactly.
I mean, I know they do it with the players' boxes a fair bit, but it was just insane.
It's a coach, I mean, and often the coaches are well known in their own regard, but not just your idiot brother who's along for the ride.
So he's there to try and graft as much out of it for himself as he can. Yeah. The thing I like, one of my favourite moments, though, probably my favourite moment of the whole Australian Open, was this moment when Nick Kyrgios won an important point, and they cut to and he yells at his box, stand up, and they were already standing up, and you could just see the look on their face like,
what do we do now?
We can't stand up anymore. We're standing up as much as we can. I kind of wanted them to start jumping.
Yeah.
And he's screaming at them, stand up, not standing up.
And so at that point, he was dangerously close to negating everything good that he'd done in the last,
We also had the Ashes, which wrapped up with an incredibly boring Ashes series where we won it. We won it on the first 3 games, and then it was just one got rains. One was a draw, and the other one. But it was just sort of pointless.
The most most interesting thing about the whole Ashes tour was the fact that the MCG pitch was a dog and had been reported to the ICC pretty much. But other than that, the Ashes tour was pretty dull.
And then was there anything like the fact that Australia just bombed in the one-day series? The only thing that surprised me more how badly they played was how little reaction it seems to have had in Australia. Like, I don't know if anyone even...
nobody cares.
They were all watching the tennis or the BBL. No one cared at all about Australia just capitulating completely.
Yeah.
There's a bit of stuff in the media about it. People complain about Smith and stuff and Maxwell not being in it and all this sort of stuff. But I didn't watch much of it.
No, I didn't watch any of it.
And I usually watch all of it.
So amongst the players and the spectators and the TV viewing audience, no one would care if it got axed and was never played again.
Yeah.
But that won't happen because it is such a great money maker.
And content generator. I mean, they've got to fill that time with...
It's 100 overs, there's 100 ad breaks, right?
Yeah.
That's a lot of commercials that Channel 9 can sell. And, of course, they have to pay for the rights to do that. So they're not going to get rid of it anytime soon.
Maybe they could do what Channel 7 do and just put ads over the actual action.
Oh, that would be better.
It's inevitable at some point. I mean, they started with the Formula 1 where you just miss whole laps. And they come back and go, oh...
they tried to do it that a bit, Channel 9. I mean, there's nothing better than listening to Slats try to tell Tubby how good Married at First Sight's going to be. You know?
Who doesn't want to listen to that? Matt Holland wrote in, is England's 4-1 series win made all the more remarkable considering they only had 2 non-English born players in the team?
Well, he's all over that. I didn't know that little stat.
Yeah, that's good for England.
That isn't bad.
Pretty good. Liam Briggs wrote in, did Australia remember they had a one-day series after the Ashes? Well, the team didn't, and I don't think the fans did either.
Exactly. I think that most of the players are more concerned about how they're going to go in the IPL auction.
That's your house paid off.
Yeah, and then you've got to play in South Africa, some of them. But, the IPL auction, it's your house paid off, and some of them you're on your second or third beach house by now. You buy a new one every year.
That has been an absolute boon for the players, that IPL. There should be... I can't wait for the podcast equivalent. You and I get to go to a podcast in India for 2 months a year.
Glenn Maxwell, these guys, 1.7 mil for 8 weeks' work.
Well, considering
that is podcast.
Considering the AFL's about to win over India and China, our market is going to be huge.
It's going to expand. We won't be able to walk down the streets of New Delhi, just like.
That's right. Just like here.
Just like
I'm always getting stopped down here. Perth Stadium hosted the last. I think it was the last of the.
It was the last of the one days,
and it was a sellout. Although it seemed sell out later in the day. Earlier in the day, it looked pretty empty at certain.
But
points.
They were all pre-sold tickets, weren't they? People were buying it.
It sold out like within a day because they just wanted to go look at the stadium.
It was the first day of the stadium. Yeah.
So it was reported that there was 53,781 people there, and they reported that there were expensive food, low quality food, and also really long queues and problems with beer and all this sort of stuff. And people put lots of photos up of terrible things. We also had a streaker.
Yeah, that was good.
There was a massive beer snake that was built by the crowd. I love Perth. I mean, I do really love Perth.
Your beer snake, that is just a great Australian
They just
thing
hit all. They just went bang, bang, bang on all the classics. I really appreciate them for
the fact that there were queues to get in and queues here and 2 long queues there, and all the food was too expensive. The AFL were into the cricket business.
Is Etihad Stadium running?
Surely, Etihad Stadium were in charge of this.
One patron put an image on social media of a fish burger, which I saw this, which it was just 2 fish fingers in a horrible looking bun and a little limp bit of lettuce, and it cost them something like $12. There was a $9 beef burger that looked like one of those microwave burgers you used to get at 7-Eleven in the 80s or something. Yeah, it looked terrible. There was also confusion about the pricing of pies and sausage rolls. There was, in some places, at one place it was $12 for a pie. $12
when it first,
and $10.50 for a sausage roll.
It was Mrs. Mac's special pie, and I'm thinking, geez, I'd want to be pretty special.
It's got cocaine in it or something. The stadium operators said it was a computer glitch and the prices for a pie is actually $5.50.
Oh, that's okay.
And $5.20 for a sausage roll.
Yeah, but $12 if you want a bottle of water with it as well.
Yeah, so there was a bit sort of... that was kind of interesting. Gavin Howley wrote in, what's cheaper, a Melbourne members cheese platter or a new Perth stadium pie? Pie's right up there.
Yeah, pie's up there with a cheese platter.
Why is it... I mean... I just can't get my head around why it's so expensive to have food and why is it also so terrible. Like,
yeah,
I don't know how they fix it, but I just can't. But I mean, they'll say it's the stadium economics and everything. I guess.
Yeah, they've got to pay staff. It's the weekend and blah blah blah. But surely
paying staff. There's the problem.
Yeah, I mean, they don't. But it's the same sort when you go to the movies.
Why don't they get George Columbaris to run it? He doesn't need to pay staff.
There you go. You
fixed.
You put a Master Chef's name on it that makes it even look better, and he doesn't have to pay the staff.
They'd be better to put a Macca's in because I mean, at least they know how to pump out food quickly.
Yeah.
You
quickly
know,
and reasonably cheap.
And I don't care what anyone says. I still enjoy a Macca's burger.
Although, except don't go. What you don't want is the people who operate Hungry Jacks at airports. So I saw one over the break. I was at an airport. I thought, yeah, I wouldn't mind a Hungry Jack's burger. I saw it was $14.50. That was purely because you're in an airport.
Yeah, you're in an airport and then suddenly currency doesn't exist.
Yeah.
Robert Hand wrote in, what's better value, a $12.50 fish burger at Optus Stadium or having Tomic out of the country for a few weeks?
It's a good question. We'll get to Tomic in a minute because that's a fairly prescient question.
Oh, the second question on that sort of links between this is Daniel Patterson wrote in, do you reckon they'll start serving the food from Perth Stadium as punishment to the contestants on I'm a Celebrity?
Well, if you believe Twitter over the weekend, a vitamised rat milkshake is already available at Perth Stadium, so they may as well.
Well, we should talk about the Jungle Show, as we call it.
We should start not
You've been watching it, haven't you?
I've been watching it fairly religiously. Well, last night...
You're my one connection to reality TV.
Well,
I get you frame...
Yeah.
All my views of reality TV because I see what's on Twitter and stuff, but apart from that, I've never watched it.
Well,
and then you come in.
Sunday night, I wanted to watch I'm a Celebrity A to see who was going into the jungle like everyone else, and then to see what was going to go on, and see how Bernard Tomic was going to go. Then last night, I only flipped over here and there because I had to watch Married at First Sight on Channel 9 because I've never actually seen Married at First Sight.
Oh, right. Was there a gaping hole in your life?
It's now been filled. I don't have to watch too many more episodes. But did you know, so I had this assumption, Married at First Sight, that these people actually sort of met and got to know each other a bit and then walked down the aisle.
That sort of, why did you think that? It's pretty...
I know,
even I know without even watching a single thing. Married at First Sight. It's hidden in the title, cleverly.
I know that's what it says, but I'm a Celebrity, get me out of here.
You're more
implies there's celebrities too.
Plus, you're a romantic. You believe in the proper courting process.
See, I didn't think there was going to be much of a courting process, or but
at least they'd meet,
or a long engagement. But I thought they might. But they literally don't meet until at the aisle. And I'm thinking, watch it. And the funny thing was, last night, the first show, there was this one of the girls. She got married to this guy from Perth, this Indigenous guy who just seemed like a ripping bloke. And she had a fair bit of baggage. But the thing was, she had her brothers there who were like the Corleone family.
Right.
And they weren't happy with this whole thing. And you could see them planning all the way through.
How to sabotage this.
Oh, they weren't going to sabotage it. They were going to take the new husband out the back and put him through a meat.
Oh, really?
Grinder. Oh, you just tell that, pretty soon if he wants to be in the family business, he's going to have to start, making a few collections. It was a cracker. But
so you liked the show?
Well, I don't think I'll ever watch it again.
Right.
I know what's going on. But with the I'm a Celebrity, last night, now we were doing this on Tuesday around lunchtime. Last night, old Bernard Tomic, he kind of said to the producers, he didn't think he could stay here any longer. He just about had enough.
He's thinking of quitting already.
He's thinking of quitting already, like on the second day. Now,
Well, that's 2 days longer than I had him in there.
well, see, the whole thing, surely Bernard only did this stupid show to rehabilitate his image amongst Australians.
Well, this is what I don't get. People go on reality TV show to use it as a platform to show the entire country what a shallow individual they are.
Yes.
Bernard's done that through tennis. He doesn't need to do it again. We get you're a shallow individual, Bernard.
Oh, but even if he has pulled the pin, and we didn't know last night, but there's news stories coming out already at lunchtime today that he has officially quit and he's already on a plane from Johannesburg to Sydney.
Is this the least surprising thing that's ever happened in your life?
No,
It's got to be right up there. It's less surprising than you thinking Married at First Sight didn't involve them getting married at first sight. But I mean, why would you think Bernard would? He's never toughed out anything in his life.
Well, he hasn't. And look,
he retired citing extreme heat once when it was 27 degrees.
Well, that made me think he was going to struggle in the jungle for a start.
Then they threw in Mundine, didn't they?
Yeah, Mundine.
Who's just gone on a anti-homosexual rant before going in, so that's a good start.
And then got in and then described Danny Green as arrogant. Oh, really, Anthony? Oh, that arrogant man, Danny Green. And then what's the first night of I'm a Celebrity? Poor old Bernard. Now I hope this doesn't. If he wants to quit and resume his tennis career, he actually got bitten on the right hand 7 times by a snake.
Did he?
Yeah, it wasn't a poisonous snake,
right?
But it was still 7 times on his right hand.
Oh, I would have liked to have watched that.
How ironic that when he got out, he wasn't able to pick up a tennis racket again because he'd been bitten by a snake.
Well, do we know the difference?
He played left-handed. He's done that before.
Calling it a tennis career on its own.
So we will find out tonight on I'm a Celebrity whether Bernard's going to be there tomorrow.
But Josh Gibson from Hawthorn's in there too.
Well, Josh Gibson actually gave it to Bernard between the eyes, saying to him, you haven't achieved enough and blah, blah, blah. What?
It's like what's he there for? Like, he's just channeling Luke Hodges. What's he?
Oh, poor old Bernard. I've walked in with all these guys and they're giving it to me.
It's pretty funny. They had a picture of him and next to Josh Gibson. Josh Gibson's ripped and looks like as fit as anything. And then you got Bernard who looks like, he could be cast as the wimpy kid in a high school musical.
Oh, yeah, exactly. And then you got Pete Rosethorn, even he was having a crack at Bernard. You've got Brett from Kath and Kim having a go at you. No wonder he's flying home. But interestingly, he was boasting that if he was going to do this show, it's because it will add to his massive bank balance.
But that's what I don't get. Why do they all have money? Like, he raves about how much money he's got. Like, he could make if he just knuckled down slightly. I'm not saying even being a top 5 or 10. If he just hung around the top 20, and which he's got the talent to do, he'd be set for life.
Yeah, he's set for life. But I don't think if he has pulled the pin, he's not going to get a cent out of this, because Brendan Favola tweeted last night, and you would think...
Brendan knows money. If there's one man I trust with finances, it's Brendan Favola.
I'm going to say, Fev doesn't know much, but he does know that if you go into the jungle and pull the pin, you ain't going to get paid.
Right, so only if you get voted out, you still get paid. But if you quit...
Every celebrity has been voted out.
Bernard's probably going to get voted out straight away anyway. He needed to stick in for a week.
Yeah, he probably would have been the first one voted out.
Nick C has an interesting thing here. He says, will it still be mandatory for the media to say Bernard Tomic has been bundled out when he leaves the Jungle Show?
Well, he may have bundled himself out, as we've said, as he's done many a time before.
Matt Anderson wrote, with the bar set lower and lower on I'm a Celebrity, are you and Serge in with a shot for next season? Well, hang on. That's a bit harsh. He also says, if so, how would you guys cope in the jungle without basic essentials like a decent cheese platter?
Oh, I couldn't cope.
Why you would want it? I don't even like going camping.
No.
So why would you want to go?
I don't like people.
No, so it's
you put the two of them together. It's like your worst nightmare.
It's pretty bad. Chris Dawn wrote in, how long does Bernard Tomic need to be in the jungle to break his personal best for the longest period of time in a competition without quitting?
Well, I think he's about to cross that.
Well, I think he's probably...
Fjord.
It's a short personal best.
Yeah.
It's a bit like beating my personal best of days in a row going to the gym.
Yeah. Or days in a row
what
without
is one?
Or my days in a row without a drink.
We also had Cam Clark wrote in, if Mundine has a basketball background, do you think he'd be a better boxer? It is amazing the amount of sports people have gone in there this year.
Sporting people?
Yeah, to the jungle.
Yeah, I reckon Josh Gibson will be a big chance of winning this.
Really?
Yeah.
Because he takes his shirt off every 5 minutes.
He looks $1 million, so he's going to appeal to that demographic.
What, the people who are like muscly men with their shirts off?
Yeah, that is a very big demographic in the TV industry. Either him or Fiona O'Loughlin.
Right.
Yeah. They're my two favourites at this stage.
Right. Anyone else who's going to fly? Who's your dark horse?
My dark horse, Pete Rosethorn, because he's such a likeable bloke.
Yeah.
I think no chance for Tiffany.
Who's Tiffany? I keep seeing her on social media. I'm like, I don't know.
She's the Sydney. She's the American singer.
The singer from the 80s.
Yeah. I think we're alone now.
Are you serious?
That's her.
She's in the jungle.
Yeah, and I saw the other day, in the States, she's already done like Celebrity Splash, celebrity dancing shows. She's been on
Talk about your career just going the wrong direction.
Oh, yeah.
Like, that's the universe telling you should be an accountant.
Yeah, and as if this is going to give her American career any kind of shot.
No, but obviously it's the money.
Oh, she's just doing it for the cash. She obviously needs the dough.
It's not that people sell out. It's for how little that bothers me. Anyway,
so we're always
Channel 10, our contact details are on the website. One thing that struck me yesterday as I was sitting at home watching the WWE Royal Rumble.
Yeah,
as I was, because I'm a big sports fan. Ronda Rousey of UFC fame.
Yeah.
Walked
happened
out
to her lately?
Well, she lost to Holly Holm in Melbourne.
Yeah.
Lost her title after she was seen as unbeatable.
Yeah.
that sent shockwave around. Then she came back about a year later and she lost again.
Yeah.
And now she's given up basically a UFC.
She can't fight.
She said she might do it again, but she's now joined the WWE, what was the World Wrestling Federation in the past.
So what's she got to do there? Wrestle, but with no punching.
Well, it's, they'll pretend to punch.
It's all scripted.
Shh, we're not allowed to say that.
Sorry. She was in the Entourage movie as well, playing herself.
I never saw the Entourage movie. I heard it was terrible.
Oh, it was terrible. But
abysmal, I heard.
Yeah, but it was a good, like a rainy Sunday afternoon Foxtel kind of movie.
Right.
Yeah.
Surely there was some sport on you could have found. Anyway, so that's what she's doing. That's another way of your career going the wrong way.
Yeah, she'll be on I'm a Celebrity next year.
Who would be the best Australian sports person to join the WWE?
Oh, Anthony Mundine.
If you want a polarising figure. Bernard Tomic would find a way to quit a fake sport.
You can't think of any sport that Tomic, other than tennis, that he could try.
Nick Kyrgios would probably fit in WWE.
Yeah. Who else? I'm thinking somebody,
Warwick Capper?
No.
You're like a definitive you are straight away.
No, not the cat man.
One of the things that caught my eye and I thought you'd like is our old friend Jarryd Hayne, who has had several dreams to be an NFL star and various other things. He's back at the Parramatta Eels after...
is that where he started a million years ago?
Originally, he started his career at Parramatta, then took off, went to the 49ers, won a Super Bowl, led them to a Super Bowl and was MVP according to the Australian media. Then he went to be a Fijian Sevens
rugby
player who they said no.
Because
you've never done it before.
He'd never done it before, and he ain't Fijian.
Yeah. Then he went to the Gold Coast Titans.
Yeah.
And he was a bust there, and now he's ended back up at Parramatta. If you're wondering how it's going, they're doing pre-season there, and they had a training camp where they had to do this 5-kilometre obstacle course, sort of like a Tough Mudder type of thing, full-on army course sort of thing. A bit like the ones that the Melbourne Football Club claim health and safety.
That Melbourne refused to do.
We're just going to go to the Sunshine Coast.
Yeah, we're going to do
so we went down by 5 points in the last 2 minutes. We're going to dig deep and remember that holiday on the Sunshine Coast.
29 minutes into the last quarter of the grand final. That memory of that Sunday over Ricky Ricardo's, that'll get us over the line.
So anyway, Jarryd Hayne does this obstacle course with the whole team, and he comes last. That's to worry about
trial kind of thing.
Yeah, it's like they all start at once, and he not only does he come last, he came last. His coach, Brad Arthur, beat him. So his coach participated and came second last.
And you don't want to generalise, but as a rule, most of those NRL coaches don't look like they've seen better days.
Well, Brad Arthur is a fit bloke, so he is. But still, he still shouldn't be beating a professional athlete.
You don't want to be getting beaten by the coach in a time trial.
But the bit I loved, this was in the Daily Telly today, and the bit I loved there was that they had a few of those, and it said, Hayne has previously, this is what they wrote in there, which I like, and they showed the picture of this. Hayne has previously come under fire for lagging behind in Parramatta's fitness work earlier this month after he was spotted trailing behind the coach Arthur's 12-year-old son.
He can't beat the 12-year-old.
There's only about his coach's family that keep beating him. So a 12-year-old is beating him.
It's not inspiring much confidence for the season, is it?
Not a lot.
I mean, this is pre-season that should have started back in November, you would have thought.
Yeah, well, it did.
You may have got
just
a bit fitter by
now. Maybe the 12-year-old could play. He might do a bit better. Other news came in over Sunday. We've got a bunch of stuff to run through. Right. The new Socceroos coach has been announced. It's Bert van Marwijk is how you apparently pronounce it.
That's how you pronounce it.
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
Not Marwick as it sort of looks. Marwijk. He's been...
why don't we ask Basil Zampoulis how it's pronounced? He's pretty good at pronunciation.
He's your go-to.
Yeah.
He's coached a bunch of places. He's coached a lot in, obviously, Holland, where Dutch people are from, I'm told. So he's had a few... He's been up and down. He was at Borussia Dortmund, where he didn't have a great career there. So anyway, he was most known for getting... Saudi Arabia up into the World Cup a little while ago. And he's sort of coached against us before, so he knows a bit about us. But it's interesting. Ange Postecoglou, who quit and is the reason that there's a free gig for someone who wants to coach the World Cup, said it's a big change. He's going to be much more defensive focused and not as all out attack as Ange was. Now, considering Ange had a lot of ones where we didn't really win. Ange said it like it was a bad thing, and then Ange said it's a shame that Graham Arnold didn't get it. I don't think there's anyone else on the planet thinking it's a shame Graham Arnold didn't get it. There's nothing like
an all-attacking coach where you end up with a 0-0 draw, But did I read that our new coach, what's his name, Bert, he's getting paid $1 million for this, plus bonuses if we win a few games at the World Cup.
Yeah.
I mean, that's
not too much.
It's about $50,000 a week.
Yeah, but there's huge money. I mean, if the Socceroos do half decently at the World Cup, it's huge for the sport here.
I know.
And it's a sport that needs it because the A-League's drifting
big money
badly.
in soccer, isn't it?
Oh, huge money. That's what that or golf is what to get your kids into. Golf is the obvious one.
Yeah.
Play it forever.
Yeah, golf, you can play it forever, and as an individual sport, you do get all the dough. But you see something like the absolute A-list soccer players in the world. These blokes,
they're not suffering either.
$38 million.
They're not on the poverty line. The AFLW is about to start later this week. It's on February 2nd, which is Friday. Carlton and Collingwood playing again. Hopefully they work out a way not to have a lockout.
Hopefully be able to get in this year.
So Adelaide won last year, of course. Erin Phillips, who plays for them, won the best and fairest.
Yeah.
And she won the Players Association MVP too. I've been reading everything. Like, everyone talks about like they know what's going to happen this season. I mean, we had one season last year.
Yeah.
Melbourne lost their first game and everyone said it was an upset, even though no one had played in the competition before. Yeah. Melbourne are apparently the favourites again this year, but who knows?
I think that's just probably because Melbourne have had the most publicity about their women's team for about the last 3 or 4 years.
Yeah.
People naturally think they're going to be good.
So,
do you reckon the Adelaide women's team are getting around Adelaide, strutting around because they're premiers and the boys all choked?
I hope so.
Yeah,
maybe they could offer some tips to the boys.
I tell you, it'd be tough for them this year. No club has ever gone back-to-back premiers in the AFL women's.
It's true. It's a fact. The Fox Footy should give you a segment in the lab with stuff like that. There's a bunch of...
I'll join Ling in the state the obvious room.
Grand finals. The grand final is going to be March 24th. Which would be good. I like the AFLW. It's the perfect entree into the season.
Yeah.
And it also... when I went to the pub to watch last year's grand final, the pub was packed. Yeah. It was a great day. So I'm all for more sport. And the good thing about supporting AFLW is it makes you appear like you care about equality.
Yeah.
You can trade off your normal just I watch sport all the time no matter what and pretend it's also for a greater social good.
Virtues signalling without the baggage that goes with it.
Virtual signalling, or as I like to call it, just being a decent person. But now that apparently that's virtual signalling. Anyway, we should mention that there's some rule changes this year. Once again,
it hasn't taken them long to start
listen to
the
this.
rules.
First, I should mention though that matches to get in is free still.
Yep.
And all the games are going to be on Fox Footy, so not on free to air, according to this. Which I thought some might be on free to air, but according to this, it's not. A host of rule changes were brought in, of course, because they can't help it. Now, one thing I'm not happy about with this is using the AFLW, like they trumpeted bringing in the women's comp, and the AFL's like, the media make out they invented women's sport, like it had never existed before.
Yeah.
But on top of that, it was all about this equality. Now, they're already treating it like, the place to tinker with rules that they might think about in the men's game.
Yeah.
So the rules that they've brought in is they've got the last disposal, whoever touched it last out of bounds, the other team gets the kick in.
Yeah.
That's to stop stoppages.
Yeah.
And big on stopping stoppages. One of the great bits of our game. Trying to get rid of it. Bench players have been reduced from 6 to 5. 16 players on the field at one time again. And there's time added on the final 2 minutes of each quarter, leaving the possibility of the fire siren going during a stoppage.
Just explain to me, why would that have been such a big deal if the siren went during a stoppage?
Yeah, that's the way the game works. Exactly. It's all...
I mean,
but the AFL hunts for problems that don't exist.
Exactly.
And then fixes them to create new problems that didn't exist before.
Exactly.
That's the AFL in a nutshell.
As I was going to say,
AFL's mission statement.
Every year we complain about the AFL tinkering with the rules.
Well, not us. We
don't. Great game.
We never complain.
And it's, as you say, it's taken them 12 months. They've had one season of AFLW. By any measurement, it was a roaring success.
Yeah.
So you know what we're going to do? Change all the rules.
Exactly. Now, talking about really changing the rules, AFLX details have been announced, a competition you and I have been huge supporters of.
Oh, absolutely. I'm all over this.
Port Adelaide and Geelong are going to kick off the inaugural match at Adelaide's Hindmarsh Stadium on February 15th.
Right, so this goes head-to-head with the AFLW.
Oh, yeah. Don't worry about that. This is typical AFL. Like, they've had success with rugby union and rugby with that, and the NRL with the 9s and the 7s have had some success. And then cricket brings in T20. So suddenly AFL goes, well, we better have our
version.
Which one of the things I like is it doesn't have that. It's just the game is the game. We don't need to change it because it keeps growing in popularity all the time. But anyway, enough of my ranting about this. Then round robin style exhibitions will be held in Melbourne and Sydney in the following days after that. There's sort of going to be 2 pools of 3 of teams, and each team plays 2 games, and then the top 2 play the grand final. That's going to be pretty exciting. And I think one of them's at Etihad Stadium from memory.
Yeah, it is.
So that's sort of... So you'll be going along, I assume?
I probably will.
Really?
Oh, just out of curiosity. I actually...
Well, you did watch Married with First Sight, so you've proven that you'll watch anything.
Well, see, what does AFLX tell me in its title that I might miss? The most disappointing thing about this AFLX is that it seems to have a bit of a buzz about it already.
You reckon?
Oh, well, all the clubs... Now, I think most of them are just trying to curry favour with the AFL. But they're all seem to be saying, oh, no, it's actually going to be pretty good.
No, they've all been made to.
Yeah. But
I've spoken to a couple of people at clubs.
It suits, some are saying it suits the taller players. Some are saying it suits the smaller players. Most of the established players are all saying, oh, no, it really suits the younger players because they don't want to have to do it.
Well, I've spoken to a couple of people at 3 different clubs about it, and they've all said, the AFL making us do it, we have no real interest. We're going to treat it as part of our training pre-season, and so therefore they're just going to pick players that they feel need the run, not let's get the superstar. So Sydney have already said Buddy's not playing, and so.
And I can't see Geelong trotting out Dangerfield and Ablett and Selwood.
Well, they're saying they are.
Yeah.
But, they always say that, and then,
that.
When you actually run onto the ground.
Yeah.
I like how they've got them playing Adelaide too, straight up. So Adelaide get a look at some other... Geelong gets a look at some other players they can pinch. Have you noticed the Rory Sloane's leaving stuff has already started?
I love that. That happened...
Even Leighton Hewitt.
During the tennis. Even during the tennis they were talking about it.
We didn't even get out of January.
Yeah.
And it's already
who will he go to? Rory Sloane if he comes back to Melbourne.
Why would you know? I mean, it's all just speculation at this point.
But that doesn't stop us.
I know, but
I
love when people say, it's going to be this and that. Who knows? Who knows? It's going to off someone.
Whoever throws his money at him.
Everyone says Collingwood, but I can't see how they got money in their salary cap after all the signings they've done.
Collingwood, Essendon.
Yeah.
But again, Essendon, they've been throwing money around.
Yeah. North Melbourne, they got money.
Yeah, they got plenty of money. Melbourne have no money anymore because it's all going to Jake Lever.
Yeah, that's right. One of the stories that shocked me it didn't shock me, to be wrong, but it was just bizarre, was Bomber Thompson's house being raided as part of a drug raid.
Yeah, that was pretty bizarre, I've got to say.
Now, interestingly, 2 men were charged with drug trafficking, and that one of them had been staying at a Port Melbourne home owned by Mark Thompson. So, when I say he lived there too, he lived upstairs, and the bikie lived downstairs, apparently, in the new sitcom of a new rebooted downstairs. A 31-year-old man from Lara, which is near Geelong, and a 28-year-old Port Melbourne man were remanded in custody after being charged with drug trafficking. They understand these men are Carl Holt, who has connections to the Bandidos bikie gang, and Thomas Windsor, who is affiliated with the Rebels bikies gang. So he's creating friendships across bikie gangs, which is nice.
Did you see that?
He got interviewed and then released, Bomber Thompson.
Did you see that Carl fella? He gets around in a Mercedes. Did you see his number plate?
Oh, yeah, it was something...
On bail. Because you wouldn't want to attract attention from the authorities, would you?
The thing that I found most amazing about this, so Bomber Thompson gets called in, gets his house raided. They find some drugs there, but I think they weren't his. It was the bikies that were living there.
Yeah.
He gets released. He actually heads off to America to escape which I'm assuming the police were okay with, right?
Yeah. Well, he wasn't charged with anything.
Well, but they didn't have further inquiries enough to say you can't leave the state or something. But anyway, they then he did one interview at some point about why were these bikies even living in his house?
Yeah.
Which is a fair question because it's not like let's assume he's innocent and had nothing to do with it. There were the police were talking about drug importation rings and all this sort of stuff. But let's say he had nothing to do with that. The question still remains: why are you letting bikies live in your house? So he said they just moved in. You can't get rid of them. They asked were they living there? Yeah. Were they living there full time? He said on and off. He just comes in when he wants. He just used to do whatever he wanted. And I thought, They're not. It's not like getting a cockroach infestation, and you go, "Oh, once you let one in, before you know it, you've got CCTVs everywhere and an iron gate.
You can't, you just can't
and
get
barbed
rid of them,
wire around the fences.
Yeah.
Like,
very strange.
Have you never known anyone to just have a bikie move in and go, "Oh well,
not much I can do about it now"?
Like he didn't really answer the point that at some point he must have said, "Yeah, you can use my house."
Yeah, I mean, how did the bikie fan did Bomber put on some website, or just
looking for a flatmate?
Maybe one of those little flyers you see hammered up on thing with the phone number dangling off the bottom of your terrace. Room to rent in Port Melbourne.
So you got to be careful. If a bikie ever comes in, you got to deal with it straight away before you know it.
Before you know it,
got an infestation. A friend of the show, Colin Sylvia, was also in a bit of trouble over
Cole
over the summer. He was spared jail. He pleaded guilty to using a stolen credit card, which he used, and we'll get into some of the thing. And he was also pleaded guilty to climbing a building to film a woman as she slept.
Oh, who hasn't?
I mean, seriously, it doesn't really. So what he did was
let those cast the first stone.
I like how I do really appreciate all the newspapers that referred to him as ex-docker, Colin Sylvia. Thank you for that. He got the details. He copied the credit card of a customer, the details of it, when he was working at a Renault dealership. He transferred more than $4,000 into an online betting account.
Right.
That was one thing he did. He also used it to purchase 2 deluxe service sessions with a prostitute at the now closed Daily Planet in Elstonwick in October. I was about to say that's how I found out it had closed, because it's the one in Melbourne everyone refers to. It's like famous. And
I many years ago.
Oh, here we go.
No, I used to live in Elstonwick.
Now, do you want me before you say this?
Well, first you say his sessions cost more than $330. Jeez, they've gone up. But no, many years ago, I used to live in Elstonwick, and I remember driving home. It was the Friday night before the grand final. It was grand final eve. And I looked down from Glen Huntley Road.
What year was this?
Oh, you could probably work it out by the next bit I'm going to say. I can't remember. This would have been in the early 90s.
Right.
Glanced down Horn Street off Glen Huntley Road.
That's a good name for it.
Yeah. And there was a queue of 50 metres long of blokes to get into the Daily Planet.
You're joking.
And they're all wearing West Coast Eagles scarves or jumpers. I kid you not. It was just...
In fairness, that could have been a disguise.
It was blue and yellow all the way
Had they won that day?
No, this was the night before.
Oh, the night before. Oh, well, they were nervous.
So all the boys are going to the Planet.
Who lines up
for a Friday?
outside of brothel? Like the whole thing had to be discreet.
Oh, yeah. What are you here for, mate? What are you doing? Oh, they're probably all just talking about,
And lucky it was the early 90s. Now,
how are we going to go tomorrow?
Now someone would just film the whole thing and put it up on social media. You'd be rumbled in about 5 minutes.
I wish I had. It was magnificent.
So anyway, Colin used the money for 2 deluxe service sessions. He then also spent $164 on pornography on the internet.
Oh, I've got to cut in here. Cole, it's 2018. Who spends money on porn on the internet? You don't have to spend a cent to get porn on the internet.
I'll bow to your judgment here. He then also made 18 deposits totaling over $4,000 to his Ladbrokes betting account.
Yeah, so I can't help you there.
Yeah, you were very knowledgeable on the pornography and the brothel. And then he was... Then he was later sacked from the job at Renault.
Yeah,
You'd be surprised. And therefore been sentenced as a result of all of this. He pled guilty to all of this to a 12-month community corrections order with 100 hours of community work.
Well, in all seriousness, good luck, Cole. Let's hope you get it together. I read the other day he's actually playing footy and coaching up at Mildura, I think, with his brother-in-law or something. So
there's a town up there he's from.
Just near Mildura, up that way. So let's hope he gets it together.
Yeah, well, I mean...
As far as I know, there's no Daily Planet in Mildura.
He's had a few chances, Colin. Yeah. So, I mean, look, I feel sorry for people when this happened, but at the same time, you think of, like, the woman he's scared and harassed. Yeah. And, it's not like they're in... Like, they get too forgiven, these guys, sometimes. Yeah. The whole thing was they were coddled all the time.
Oh, that's the thing. And you're getting paid hundreds of thousands
Had
of
every
dollars
opportunity.
To play footy.
Talking to someone who was always coddled, Ben Cousins, leaving prison, he's out of prison, got out a bit earlier. The West Coast Eagles have given him a job. What did you think of this?
Well, I reckon, personally, that West Coast have hired him to hopefully keep him quiet about spilling the beans anymore about what went on in the Eagles in the old days.
Do you reckon it's that, or do you reckon it's also partly the Eagles?
It's guilt. They're trying to assuage their own guilt.
Well, and I think also the thing in talking to a lot of people is they all, and lots of people have said this too, but in talking to people like footy journos and footy people, they don't like to talk about Ben Cousins much, or say much even negative about him and his behaviour.
Yeah.
Because some of it's inexcusable, right?
Yeah.
They don't like to bag him too much or make jokes or do whatever because they all think he's going one place and that's he's going to die.
Yeah.
Right? They all think that. So, they're all kind of just being... And I think the Eagles here are like... The best outcome for them is that he rehabilitates himself.
That'd be a terrific story.
It's not only their guilt, but then if he died, passes away or something in like a drug overdose or something, the heat that would come on them, would be re-examined, minutely. And so I think it is an element of that. I think there's a little bit of self-servingness.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of self-servingness.
I think it's a terrible look for the game.
That he's gone back.
Well, I mean, here's someone who he breached against his ex-partner. Who he was described as waging a campaign of 9 months of terror on his kids and ex-partner, and breached violent restraining orders and stuff like that. So, it's not. I mean, I know there's a side of you that's like the poor guy's got huge addiction problems.
Yeah.
And that's a terrible thing. But then there's also the victims and the people who he's hurt and broken along the way that you kind of also feel,
people say, he's the one who suffers from the drug addiction being a victimless crime. And it's not a victimless crime because he's made other people victims.
I'm not saying I got the answer, but it's not an easy thing, right? And, when the AFL's all about, equality and ending violence against women, it's not a terrific look when it looks like... I mean, I think this is an extreme case as well. Like, you kind of also say, well, if he has no structure, it's only going to get worse.
So, hopefully, I mean, in an ideal world, he will continue to resurrect his life and it all works well and everyone at the Eagles looks like a good bloke because they've rehired him. But as you say, I mean, not necessarily the extreme of him dying, but even if it all goes sour... And he does end up back on the gear and walks out on the Eagles. It's going to be a terrible look. But that's
where everyone thinks it's going. I'm not saying that to be like hyperbole. Like his ex-partner said that, but a bunch of people, that's what everyone thinks, whether it's... And so I think the Eagles are like, we've got to do something.
Yeah. And I say, it's possibly only a matter of time before he does fall off the wagon and then it's a bad look for everyone. But
look, he could turn it around. I was reading one of the people who... expert on drug addiction. It's normal for people to fall off the wagon a lot, but he could at some point. He's got support networks and all that. So who knows? But it's just a strange.
It's a strange look. So hang on, we got Colin Silvio.
One thing that this is turned on a more amusing note.
Bomber Thompson and Ben Cousins.
Yeah, it's all been a busy summer. Rodney Eade.
What's he done?
It's been announced he's going to coach Balwyn which is a suburb in Melbourne, in the Eastern Football League, an amateur league or semi-amateur. A lot of payments under the table.
Oh no, that's not in the Ammos. It's
not Ammos. Sorry,
it's the Eastern Football League. Football League. So everyone can get paid there.
Yeah, and it's an interesting move for him. It's probably going to be one they've both a more professional environment than the Gold Coast Suns, and will draw a bigger crowd.
Yeah.
But what a thing to go from being an AFL coach to this.
And he's coached hundreds of games. I mean, Sydney. Bulldogs, Gold Coast.
It just shows you everyone eventually finds their level.
So it'll be like that on a T-shirt. You buy those T-shirts, London, Paris, New York,
Sydney,
Tarnique,
Bulldogs, Gold Coast Suns, Balwyn Tigers.
Yeah, the T-shirt, there you go, Balwyn. There's an idea for your marketing.
Here was an interesting point that was made, though, when it was announced. His appointment means both of Gold Coast's first two coaches are coaching in the suburbs with Guy McKenna at Beaumaris.
Yeah, he's coaching Bowie.
Which just shows
that is the Amos.
Taking the Gold Coast coaching job is the perfect set pathway to being a suburban coach.
Who do you reckon in 2 years' time, where can we see Stewie Dew?
Keilor? Something like that. Shane wrote in, when will the AFL introduce a trade system like Married at First Sight? It works so well and might save humanity.
Matching one idiot with another idiot.
You just walk down the aisle and find out what club's got you.
May as well. Don't they do that already?
Basically.
Trade Week.
Well, I've said Trade Week should just be using a Tinder app, but with just the clubs and the players on it. Paul Spain wrote in, what was the most cringeworthy moment of the summer? Basil trying to convince Jim Courier why he must watch The Good Doctor. Anytime Peterson and Clark were teamed up in commentary, or any mention of the jungle in the Big Bash, he's given us some really good cuts to swing at there.
Tell you what, Paul, I reckon you can't really put one against the other there, or higher than the other. They're all.
I did like, not just Basil, but any commentator, like you were saying earlier in the cricket, any commentator
trying to convince the other.
Talk about how excited they were that some show was coming back.
Yeah, The Good Doctor, Well, that's going to be good. It's about an autistic doctor who looks 11 years old. Don't miss that,
It's a bit like that you'd come up with.
I certainly wouldn't expect anyone to watch it.
So we need to find a winner.
I'll let you choose.
Well, I like Nick C. Will it still be mandatory for the media to say Bernard Tomic has been bundled out when he leaves the jungle?
It's It's a very topical question.
Well done, Nick. It's good to be back.
It is good to be back.
We had a lot to cover off there.
We did get one.
Some of them less funny than others.
We did get one person last night tweeted us that if he was to win the T-shirt, could we forget him and just send it straight to any tennis player who was sponsored by Nike? He was obviously not a fan of the pink.
People did not like the T-shirt.
The pink this year.
Well, it is very good to be back. I'm actually dusting off, starting to get ready for a year of footy.
Yeah. The AFLW this week, and then the AFLX in a couple of weeks.
I couldn't be more excited.
It's all happening.
And we've got the Winter Olympics, which I know you could not.
From
Pyeongchang. What else have we got? We've got the World Cup.
Got the Gold Coast Commonwealth Games.
And the Gold Coast Commonwealth Games. I know you're amped for that too.
Oh, yeah, no. Whenever I want to watch some B-grade athletics, I think I'm all over the Commonwealth Games.
It's going to be great.
It's going to be a massive year here at the Variety Hour. We've got lots of things that's going to happen this year with the Variety Hour.
Really?
We hope.
It's like a thread. Well, anyway, it is very good to be back. I hope everyone had a good summer.
Yep.
We will be back very soon. Are we doing another one this week?
I don't know. You want to?
I reckon we should.
Yeah, let's see what happens with Bernie tonight.
Oh, yeah, we could do a whole.
We might have to do a special,
an emergency podcast.
Bernie's been bundled out podcast.
Oh, well, all right. We'll see you then.